It's a cool or even cold, brisk morning here in North Texas, guys. Let's talk about the coming week, though. This is your week's notice. Stay tuned. So we have a light frost this morning. Got down to about 33. Both high tunnels stayed steady at 37, so we're okay there. Just fed my girls, and Rue, the rooster, he's a pretty one for sure. So we've been unseasonably warm till that storm came through the other day, Tuesday morning. And now we're a bit chilly. But guys, it's about to get much worse. There's a fog in this big high tunnel. So some decisions and some preparations need to be made, and we got to get on it. We've got about 5 or 6 days before things start to dive. So starting on Thursday morning, I think it says we're going to get down to 19 degrees here in North Texas. That's substantially cold for us. And then Friday morning, 16 degrees, and then Saturday morning, 20 degrees. So we're looking at quite possibly at least 36 hours of below freezing temps, possibly 48, depending on what Saturday and Sunday's going to do, which is Christmas Day. So they say we're going to be significantly colder this year than we were last year. Last year we were 84 degrees on Christmas Day. In this big high tunnel, we have all these beautiful pepper plants. So a decision needs to be made as to if we're going to protect these. If we do decide we're going to, how are we going to protect them? And what method and how long? Now, the concern will be only during the night, because if the sun comes out, and right now it's showing that it's going to be sunny, it'll heat up in here and it won't need to be heated for most of the day. But as soon as that sun goes down, and if we get that low, the ambient temp in here, or the temperature inside this high tunnel, will dip below freezing. So we would be looking at heating for the nights. There's a couple of methods we could use. We could use trying to cover them. We could use our Mr. Heater. We could use our forced air heater. Both of those run off propane, which could be kind of costly. Now, we prepared with about 11 tanks of propane last year for cold weather, and we didn't really get substantially cold last year. So we still have quite a few of those tanks full. We need to go through and see what we did use, but I'm pretty sure it wasn't very much. And if you watch my video from last year, we don't take and swap out the tanks. We take them to a propane dealer and have them filled. It's much cheaper on us, so be sure and consider that if that's something you're looking at. There's a little bit of frost on my cabbage out here in this raised bed, but it should be okay. But a decision needs to be made on this as well. So I have cabbage and broccoli in this raised bed. I'm going to have to find some plastic to cover over these hoops so that we can try to protect these by midweek next week. So if you have a raised bed, you need to start thinking about, are you going to try to save them? Are you just going to let them go during the freeze? And if you see on my raised bed, we have put PVC pipe over them so that we can drape plastic over them in the event we need to. And this is my outdoor garden. My turnips will rebound just fine from this frost, but I have some carrots in there. I think they'll be okay, but I don't think my beets will, and I'll show you why. So I have to decide, am I just gonna let the beets go, or am I gonna try to find a cover to cover this small outdoor bed? Here are my beets in an outside raised bed as well, and you can see even frost kind of hits these greens. Now I can clip these down and keep them growing, but I would have to cover these up next week to make sure that they're okay, which I'll probably end up doing, guys. And then I have this raised bed here that has some collards in it and some arugula and some spinach that's tried to come up. I have not had good luck with my spinach this year, guys. I don't know what's going on with my seeds, but yeah. Anyway, and we've got this kale. I don't know that I'm going to go to the trouble of covering this raised bed. I'll just have to ponder it and think. So inside my little high tunnel, yes, I've got to do some protecting in here, and this one will be a little bit easier to heat than that big one. We had the Mr. Heater out last night just in case I had to come out here to protect these tomato plants. But what we're going to end up doing, guys, is we have got to get a radiator heater that will fit under this little high tunnel in a high tunnel, and then we use these light bulbs as well to keep my tomatoes safe. Now that year we got that ice storm in February that was extended, and we got down to -3 degrees. We were able to keep these tomatoes at about 55 degrees with that method, and so we will have to do that with those. Now I have other greens in here that I really don't want to lose either. Again, I think my root plants and my carrots will be okay, but some of this stuff, guys, could take a hit if we don't apply some sort of heat to these plants in here. That is extreme weather. It's extreme cold, and to be below freezing an extended time, but again, during the day it will heat up in here. It's at night that I'm concerned about. Could be hazardous to some of your brassicas. So you've got some decisions to make too if you have plants that are susceptible or outside that may get hit. I don't know if you can, if they're containers, you can put them in your garage, or I don't know, guys, maybe you can cover them with a sheet or some plastic. But a couple of other things that we've got to make sure make sure you have your faucet covers, because I'm telling you, if you're here in North Texas, they're going to be sold out by Monday or Tuesday. Once this weather forecast gets out, they're going to be sold out. So make sure you have your faucet covers. Disconnect all your hoses. Another thing that we're going to have to do is get more bedding for the chickens and fluff that up. I think they'll be fine. They do have some radiant chicken heaters in there that keep them quite warm. So got to get some plastic to cover these raised beds for the ones I want to save, and I have to make a determination on what I'm going to try to hang on to through this winter blast that's coming. Now, day before yesterday, they were predicting significant snowfall for our area, but I think they've kind of backed off on that. Don't be surprised if that changes, because weather changes frequently up until we get right up into a day or two before here in North Texas. So you could be looking at some substantial winter weather as well as the extreme cold temperatures. Now, we do have plenty of firewood to heat the house. We also have our generator ready and the battery's charged on it. I'll get Greg to crank that up, and you know, put your lawnmower, anything out. Make sure everything is put away, because this is some extreme cold headed our direction that I'm not sure. And guys, help me remember. But I don't think we got that last year. We did the year before, but we did not last year. If your onions and garlic are outside, you're also going to want to cover those, guys. That is extreme. So be sure and cover your onions and garlic. Now, you can use mulch, you can use leaves, you can use straw, you can use hay, you can use a blanket. So you need to start preparing to cover up anything that you may think might not survive those severe cold temps headed our way by, I'd say, Wednesday night. It's quite chilly outside, but it's about 41 degrees in this little high tunnel. I suspect that the other one is about the same. It's very still here this morning. There's no wind, but it's cold. And there's not a cloud in the sky, so it's beautiful. And by the way, we've been praying for all of you east of us that may encounter those thunderstorms yesterday in Louisiana and Mississippi and in Alabama. So we've been praying for all you guys. I've seen some terrible disaster and some terrible news, especially for that mother and son that were killed in Louisiana. That just breaks my heart. But anyway, yeah, so this cold weather is going to be filtering to the east, and it's quite possible that our wind chills late next week, could be in the single digits, maybe even below, and that will make things 10 times worse. So we live in a manufactured home, so we have pipes under the house. We have to make sure and keep our faucets dripping. We have to make sure and tell Pop to keep his faucets dripping, because that is the kind of cold that will break pipes, especially with extended freezing temps. So there's lots of things you guys need to start preparing for and getting ready for and making sure that you have long before next Wednesday or Thursday, because like I said, those faucet covers will be gone. They'll be gone Monday or Tuesday, if not by Saturday or Sunday. We don't have any livestock, but I know a lot of you do. Make sure you have shelter for them and a water source, a heated water source, and of course, protect your animals. Don't leave your animals outside during something like that. Our babies are always inside with us, except for when we're usually outside. We let them come out and play, but yeah, we don't leave our animals out at night. And so be sure and protect your animals and make sure they have shelter and a heated source to stay warm. Let's keep our eye on the weather, because it could change, and it could change for the worse as the days go by with some winter precipitation. And stay tuned, guys, and let me know what you're hearing for your forecast in the area, and let me know steps that you're taking. And I'm interested to know if you're going to try to protect your raised beds or your plants on the ground like some of mine that I have, and how you're going to do that, whether it's going to be with straw or mulch or maybe a blanket. So we've got some decisions to make, and I'm sure you do too. Take care, God bless, and we will be in touch.